Welcome back to This is a Commander channel, where this is a Commander channel, and today I'm going to talk about Commander, Tough Rules, and Cool Interactions, episode 104. Today's episode is going to take a look at one of the more powerful new legendary artifacts from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan set, and there are 12 of them that we got from this set. It's quite a lot. And the one that I'll be covering in this episode today is the Enigma Jewel, that has a backside of Locus of Enlightenment. So let's read what these sides do, and for those of you that are here just curious about how this card works with Planeswalkers, I will be covering that at the end. The Enigma Jewel costs 1 blue and says, the Enigma Jewel enters the battlefield tapped. It has tap, add 2 colorless mana, spend this mana only to activate abilities. And then it has craft with 4 or more non-lands with activated abilities and pay 8 and a blue. And then the backside of Locus of Enlightenment says, Locus of Enlightenment has each activated ability of the exiled cards used to craft it. You may activate each of those abilities only once each turn. Whenever you activate an ability that isn't a mana ability, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. So there's a lot going on here. I'm going to focus on the Locus, that kind of rhymes, of Enlightenment side of the card, as I've seen a lot of confusion involving that side. First things first, it will only have the activated abilities of the cards that it has exiled with its craft ability, and in Magic, we will always know that something is an activated ability because it will have a colon in the text. Keyword abilities like Lifelink do not count. Triggered abilities that begin with when, whenever, and as do not count. And static abilities and replacement effects do not count. And then, for those of you wondering why the second ability has some special wording for mana abilities not being copyable, it's because mana abilities do not actually use the stack, and so a triggered ability to make a copy of that mana ability would never be able to see that mana ability. It would be gone before the triggered ability ever goes to the stack. That doesn't mean that the Locus of Enlightenment doesn't still gain those mana abilities. It does have them if they were on the cards that it exiled. It just doesn't copy them with its second ability. One thing I've seen some confusion on is that this card does not allow you to activate these abilities free of charge. You must still make their payments. This means abilities requiring you to tap the permanent itself get a little tricky. You can't use Selvala Heart of the Wild's mana ability to help pay for Saheeli of the Sun's Brilliance ability if they're exiled for this, as they both require you to tap themselves. If you have a way to untap the Locus, well, then you're good to go. Before moving on to the next part, I want to clarify that the second ability on the Locus does not go infinite with itself. I've seen some people saying that it does, because you're copying an activated ability, and that ability triggers this to copy that ability, and then that copy triggers this to make a new copy, etc., etc. But this triggered ability of the Locus makes a copy of that ability while it is on the stack already, so it isn't activated again. The copy of it is just created already on the stack. So now let's cover the most common thing I saw people getting confused about. Yes, you can exile Planeswalkers with the craft ability of this card, and yes, it will have those loyalty abilities. Another yes is that you can actually activate those loyalty abilities even if the permanent they're on is not a Planeswalker. I've covered this in previous episodes, so please do check out those earlier episodes for more info on it. But basically, the Locus will start out with 0 loyalty counters, which, based on what I've just covered before about having to still make payments, means that if you had exiled Teferi Master of the Time to the craft ability, then you wouldn't be able to pay the -3 loyalty ability, as you don't yet have that many loyalty counters to remove. But you could activate his +1 ability to start him gaining some loyalty counters, and eventually, once you have enough, you could activate his -3. Not being a Planeswalker itself, taking damage would not remove that many loyalty counters from the Locus, and being 0 loyalty counters would never cause the Locus to die, as that's only a state-based action associated with Planeswalkers. The Locust itself isn't one. It just happens to have some loyalty abilities. And finally, the thing I saw most people confused about: how many loyalty abilities can you activate a turn with the Locus? It says that Locus of Enlightenment has each activated ability of the exiled cards used to craft it. You may activate each of those abilities only once per turn. So if you exiled Teferi, Master of Time, and also exiled a Chandra, Bold Pyromancer with the craft ability, it almost seems like you would be able to activate Teferi's +1 ability, and then you could activate Chandra's +1 ability, as they're each a different ability on a different card even. But sadly, this is not the case. We can see in the comprehensive rules in section 606.3 that a player may activate a loyalty ability of a permanent they control anytime they have priority and the stack is empty during a main phase of their turn, but only if no player has previously activated a loyalty ability of that permanent that turn. While they are two separate cards exiled with it, it is still just a singular Locust that is activating those abilities. Some people seem to be reading the wording on the Locust as permission that gets around CR 606.3, but it isn't granting permission. It's not giving you permission to do that. It's actually providing a restriction on you casting those abilities. Anyhow, that's all I've got for today's episode. Is there anything about this artifact that you guys think I have left out? Are there any other questions you have? I tried looking around to find some other questions, but most of them were relatively simple, so please do ask me any other questions you have regarding this Locust, whether it's capable of doing something, is it not capable of doing something. Please do ask those questions, and I will answer them down in the comments below. As always, I hope that all of you have found this video to be entertaining at least, and I hope that a few of you have even learned something about the crazy rules in this great game of Magic. Have a good one. Ta-ta!